Film studies form part of my drama course, and I can remember that some critics see the director of a movie as an author whose creative vision shines through the product in its entirety.
Now, I don't know if I can accept that idea without some reservations, because movie making involves so many separate people, and they often have different views of what they're doing.
There is one person who really has to keep the whole show on the road though, and that's the producer.
This is where art meets business, and it's a tough job, particularly in South Africa. Kumaran Naidu came in at the ground floor, and he's been working his way up ever since.
Ever heard of Highway Sheela? She's that mysterious lady dressed in white. She's always taking lifts from strangers.
Excuse me, miss. Are you okay? Why don't you jump in? I'll drop you off somewhere.
Making a movie is an incredible experience, but there's one essential ingredient that people don't really speak about, and that's the suspension of disbelief, which means completely believing what you're seeing. I'd even say that no matter if you're a director, camera operator, or even an actor, you have to believe in what you're doing. I'm about to meet a local filmmaker who's doing exactly that.
Chatsworth born and bred, Kumaran Naidu grew up in a family that loved the movies. But the school curriculum of the time definitely wasn't geared up to prepare him for a filmmaking career. So he had to teach himself.
Kumaran.
Zakia, how are you doing?
Great. I'm so excited to be on set with you today.
And welcome to my studio.
So what are you going to do today?
I'm going to do a TV pitch.
Can I be your assistant director?
Fabulous, I'm looking forward.
Okay, good.
Okay, well, let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
Girls, take your positions over there. And let's get started. It's a bit of a love story, entanglement, so I want to see the energy from the scene.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you're going to help me to direct, so I want you to look for facial expressions.
Okay.
It's very, very important when you're doing this, right? Okay, girls, let's start.
Sure. Let's get started.
Now, what you're going to do, since you are the assistant director, you are going to monitor sound.
Okay.
Stand by.
Stand by.
Hit record.
And action.
It's her. Hello? Hi, how are you doing? I don't know. I'm just so heartbroken. It seems like Christopher is cheating on me and I don't know what to do.
Okay, you see the girl that was supposed to be sad? Right, her persona doesn't have the proper energy.
Cut. Can I stop this?
You can stop it.
I'd love to chat with you more and find out how you got into this. Should we go have a chat?
We can do that. Girls,
Great.
take 5.
After completing his schooling, Kumaran studied architecture and worked in a bank. Then one day he bought a book on self-realization and realized that his true passion was for filmmaking. It would be a decade before this dream could be realized. But he continued to expand his knowledge and practice the craft in his spare time.
Equipment doesn't make the filmmaker. It's the ability to tell a story through image and sound. Quentin Tarantino learned how to make movies while working at a video store, and Kumaran Naidu had the same kind of informal training. Let's get the story firsthand. Kumaran, I hear a love of film runs in your family. Please tell me more.
Well, it started with my granddad, who used to be a projectionist at the Mayville Theatre back in the 1960s. And then my dad used to accompany him to the cinema when he projected those films. And it sort of ran through the family thereafter.
Was there a movie that made a particular impression on you?
Definitely. It was Superman the movie, the 1978 by Richard Donner. I totally adored that movie, everything about it. I was a kid when I watched that movie and I wondered, how did they make this man fly?
How did you develop an interest in making movies as opposed to just watching movies?
I always wanted to be on a film set. Whether it was getting coffee for the director or just standing and watching, it just seemed to be like an exciting experience. But when I left school, I didn't really have the chance to, there was limited chances in our country, so I didn't have a chance to go and be on a film set. So as time went on, I realized, if I cannot have an opportunity, I'm going to make the opportunity. That's when I said I want to start making my own films.
Was filmmaking really an option at the time, or did it seem more sensible to go the more conventional route?
At the time when I matriculated, filmmaking wasn't really an option for me. It was offered in, obviously, other universities, but I couldn't afford it at the time. I went the conventional route of either becoming a doctor or an architect and so forth. I was good at technical drawing, so I thought naturally I should become an architect.
During architecture, did you learn anything that has helped you during filmmaking?
With architecture, you need to have some visualization skills, and that's very helpful in terms of the filmmaking process, not just filmmaking itself. I do a number of different skills. For example, one of my skills is being a 3D modeler, where you model on software. And that is where my technical drawing skills come into play, because you need to picture or envision an object from the front view, from the top view, the side view, and that helps a lot.
What was your lucky break?
I actually had a couple of lucky breaks, I would say, but I think the biggest lucky break I had was doing my first film. Broken Promises was my first film, and I would think that that was my stepping stone into the industry, because I was just going to make one film and call it quits, just to say, hey, I made a film. But then what happened was something I didn't really conceive to happen. I became a household name when that movie was released.
Tell us about the movies you've made to date.
I have done Broken Promises, part 1, 2, and 3. I've done Run for Your Life, 1 and 2. I've done a supernatural film which is actually aimed for the kids, which is called The House Knows. It's actually about religion. It's about 3 mystic warriors, a Christian, a Muslim, and a Hindu, that have to sort of team together to battle evil. My last one that I did is The Curse of Highway Sheela. It's actually the first horror film that I've done.
I've been tasked to investigate this myth and find out if there's some link or tie with all of the accidents that's been happening on the highway recently.
She's my daughter. She died 8 years ago.
What advice do you have for aspiring movie makers?
My advice for filmmakers, aspiring filmmakers, is never give up. It's a very tough industry. People think it's easy to just take a camera and shoot something. You know, there's a whole lot of processes that go in there. So do not be disheartened or do not turn away or leave your project unfinished. Finish your project. Even if it's a 5-minute film, finish it, right? Eventually you'll get to becoming, making movies for 90 minutes. And then you're going to find that as you're making your films, you're going to learn new techniques, new experiences. My philosophy about filmmaking is that it's not something that's in scripture. It's a man-made process. So it doesn't mean you can't come in there and better that system. That's the philosophy I went into when I made my first film.
And finally, what do you do to relax?
Let me show you.
Oh, I wonder what it is. Batman vs. Wonder Woman. Whee!
Are you ready for a super whipping?
Okay, wait, now how do I do? Oh! Okay, so that's. Oh!
That's not fair.
Wait, I'm just learning how to do this. I totally hit you.
How are you doing that?
I don't know. Oh! What do you enjoy about gaming?
Everything. You know, it takes me to a different world, and I get to be somebody I'm not. You know, I get to be Batman, I get to race cars.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
I hope to conquer the international market.
Really?
Definitely.
That's amazing. Me too. I hope to see you there.
I'll see you there.
Kumaran is someone who has beat the odds to become an independent filmmaker in South Africa. To do this means believing in yourself, which is something I strongly identify with, no matter which side of the camera or screen I'm on.